right, hello, hello. Let me know if you can hear me okay. I see the sound, but I don't know what the quality looks like. Is this it? No. Um, I think, hold on, let me check over here. It was like, oh, we need to close down this program. I was like, no, no, you can't close that program down. It's going to mess it all up. I think it's still set. Yeah, I think it's still set correctly, but I don't know. I got chat boxes up, kind of, not chat boxes, other places. Okay, clear. Thank you, Ernest. So yeah, so it's not coming through. So all sources. Yeah, it's crazy. So I have chat back up again, but it's like YouTube chat, which is normally you guys chat on Twitch. So I don't know. One of these days I'll figure it out. I'm like, can I chat with two areas? I don't know. So yeah, it's interesting how it's set up. I don't want to add channel. I don't need that one. Let me hide this over here. Yeah. Oh, it's like I hate when things update and then it's like, oh, downloading. Okay, now we're updating. It's like you told me you're doing that before. Mike, all is red. Filter? No. All? Nope. I don't need that. All right. I don't know what that is. Continue setup activity. I don't know. There's all these new options now that weren't there before. So I don't know. If you guys type something and I miss it, I apologize. I'll do my best. I think I have the chat from all the channels up here right now that I can see it. I think we're good. I think if not, I apologize ahead of time. Anyway, so some definitely interesting data this morning. A lot of red across the board, and even something like manufacturing, they came in better than expected, and it was a little bit higher, still below that 50. So it's not quite as bad as what they thought manufacturing wise, but then services got just absolutely nuked. As good as it were like, oh, look at this. Maybe it's not, we're too negative. They were looking for a down and they was double, right? It was double down. And then all of a sudden UK data came in. Yeah, that 46, again, we talked about being really, really close. And yesterday I mentioned being at like a 49, being something below would be bad. 46 is quite less on the manufacturing side. And then services was not horrible, but there was an adjustment down last time. It was supposed to be 5.3 and actually went down closer to what the expectation was. So again, kind of a mixed thing. And again, that's why it's a little higher here. So not necessarily the worst, the worst UK reading, but we'll see. U.S. data comes in the next couple of minutes, right? We're going to see that one pop in here. And again, the expectation for services is it's going up, but it's still below that 50 mark, showing that we have a contraction in services. And then manufacturing, I think, is going to be the big one. Even though it's not considered as high as importance, manufacturing services is kind of like where are we at right now. Manufacturing is where we're going. And we've had some really strange manufacturing numbers, right? Between Empire and Philly, it's like they're like two sides of the same coin. One's good, the other's bad. And then vice versa, we flip back and forth again. So we'll see how that comes in. But a lot of the headlines, things like this, Greece to cover 94% of household power price hike in September because their people just can't, it's just getting out of control. But there is a lot of like kind of hot data within the last probably 9 hours or whatever or so. UK private sector moves closer to stagflation in August. Inflationary pressures continue, right? They went up slightly. Again, stagflation or stagnation, not stagflation, I guess, stagnation. These are things that this is one of those words you just don't want to see. So again, that's starting to roll in. Then we have downturn in German private sector economy deepens in August. Again, driving them, and we just saw what does it look like here. Again, this is part of that data, but both are under 50, and wow, services is getting even worse. So again, that's not great for the euro. The French economy contracts in August for the first time in a year and a half. Again, post-COVID, this is the first contraction we're seeing. And again, inflation is kind of starting to roll in. And the EU hasn't even started to really raise interest rates. So yeah, we got more coming there too. So not necessarily the greatest. The US dollar resilient, right? Yes, the U.S. dollar has been more resilient because we don't know what the next raise is going to look like, but we know one is coming. Everybody and our economy, we've done well so far because, again, people are still spending. And again, I really feel that the reason why we have continued to do pretty well is because, again, the Fed has been very kind of, I guess dovish is the correct word for it. We're going to go big, 0.5. And it's like, they did 0.75 and it's kind of like, yeah, the biggest hawk out there has been calling for ones, and we haven't even gotten close, right? I wouldn't say 0.75 is close, but I would say they've been on the side of being kind of a little bit more dovish. So Yeah, you expect the dollar to be more resilient. USD sentiment little change. Yeah, everybody's bullish because again they know we're going to raise again. It's just getting ahead of it. Um, this if you guys if you guys would like to see some guys and girls like to see some I don't know, maybe true economic sentiment. It's not really official polling, but I love the comments. You guys know I'm in this for the comments. Like the comments are great. You know, the U.S. Inflation Reduction Act is an important step in the transition. Yay! And it's like definitely like a pat us on the back type thing, like how great it is. Go read the comments. The comments are pretty funny. The comments show you kind of the true thing, you know, the true belief in it, right? it's it is funny. I'm not exactly sure, you know, like we know where the inflation came from, and nothing in here would actually stop the inflation that we have right now, right? Um, and it's nice that I love how we just keep blaming, you know, inflation on, you know, it's like, oh, it's the Middle East. And it's like, no, you've tried to kill an industry for 20, 30 years. There's been absolutely zero investment into it. When you don't invest in things, yes. When there's a crisis, it's so far behind, you know, and you want it to change, but it's like, yeah. And then it's like prescription drugs. What does prescription drugs have to do with inflation? Do you know why and it's the dumbest thing. Do you know why there's inflation in prescription drugs? Because that has nothing to do with it, right? The reason why there is, you know, a higher cost inside of prescription drugs is because in the United States, we sue everybody. That's why there's like six middlemen. It, you know, and again, I can say this, and I feel good about saying this. I used to work for Merck. Okay, I saw the price catalog. We used to sell drugs to these intermediary companies for less than 5 cents a pill. But by the time the person would pay cash at a CVS or something like that, they were spending $5 or $6 a pill. That's not pharma. That's the insurance companies and all the risk people in between that need to be that. Yeah, those are the lobbyists. It's not the pharmaceutical companies, guys. It's just insane. It's the middlemen, and the reason why all those insurance things, all those things are in there exist is because we sue everybody in the United States. So create some protection, and you won't have the same problem. Overseas laugh at us, and it has nothing to do with climate change and all that kind of stuff. So again, create a bill, throw a million things in there that have nothing to do with the actual cause of it, and that's how you would get things through today. So, yeah, so that's a good read if you guys are looking for a good read. And again, we got one thing about the Ukraine, and it just talks about how the Ukraine war drags on and Europe's economy succumbs to crisis. Again, this is a very, very important one. It's going to continue to exist. And in my opinion, the worst is not even here yet. As I've said on the channel, I do think natural gas, I talked to you guys, I just really can't get short natural gas, looking for it to pop. It did break $10. It broke $10 in the overnight. Why? Again, this, right? And we haven't even gotten to the whole winter gas storage yet. That's starting now. Like September is when it's like, okay, we're going to be good. We're not going to be good. People, this is Europe. This is not Russia where you cut up an elevator, right? This is not East Germany. This is the entire European Union is going to have a hard time filling gas storage. And it's nice that the U.S. thinks that we're going to be able to, repair it all, but there's just only so much we can produce, and it's not enough. So yeah, we haven't heard the worst yet. Yeah, look, the outlook is still likely to get worse before any significant improvement in 2023, right? Look, crisis is the new norm. So, yeah, I think there's a lot more to it. So, news-wise, again, a lot of headlines. None of this is really great. Things are getting worse. Yes, it's going to continue to roll forward. The more billions of dollars the United States send across to the Ukraine, the more Russia is going to kind of hit us back again. So, and again, what is it? Newton's law, right? For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. They don't have billions and billions of dollars, but the more weapons we send across there, the more that Russia's going to be like, how can I screw them back again? It's exactly what's going to happen. And that's just the way again, I used to work for a guy who's Russian, like legitimate Russian accent, everything. That's how they think. Like, that's just how they think. You do it to me, I'm going to do it back to you, and it may not be worse, but they're going to give it back again. And meanwhile, they're going to cut a side deal with China and India and any other country that'll talk to them and sell them stuff super, super cheap. And that's how it works. So, again, that's going to get worse, but there's only one headline now versus everything. Everybody else is just talking about, oh, this is bad, 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 bad. Euro dollar flat in 24 hours. You can see that this one is rallying back up again. We talked about it yesterday. And this must be because of the data. Look at this. In the last 60 minutes, 15 minutes, 12 minutes, let's see. Oh, yeah, because it came in horrible. 44 and 51. So again, lower, not under 50, but look at that. Services getting hammered. Yeah, so there's your there's your dollar weakness right there. So again, yeah, these were up in the opposite direction. Look at this. They were up. Hold on, let me see. I gotta look to see. Yeah, there you go. There you go. Look at that. Right? Look at that. So since that data came out, really, it's funny. It started the move ahead of time. The data just came out here, and magically, it started the move over here. The entire move is 71 pips. But isn't that funny? Right? The news just came out, 9:45. This is a 15-minute chart. Right? The news came out on that candle. That candle. Magically, at 9 o'clock, it moved 50 pips. Right? Up until news. And then continue to push higher. Imagine how that works. Huh? There's no such thing as manipulation in this market, right? Right. Yeah. So, yeah, somebody knew the data. Somebody knew the data. It is what it is. Nothing you can do about it now, but that is pretty funny. But anyway, again, services are down. You're looking at this and be like, oh my God, this is horrible news for the economy. Wouldn't be surprised, actually, if things rolled forward. Yeah, look at that. In the green now. They're all starting to rally up. Why? Because it really puts a big kind of linchpin in the Fed, raising interest rates even further. So, yeah, there's that. Yeah, that's much more than expected. And actually, I didn't expect this one to be above 50. I was kind of wondering if we get into that, 49.1, maybe just a little bit lower than the expectation. This one I did expect it to be lower than this. I think I mentioned that yesterday, expecting this to be down. And I was actually expecting I guess 51.3 was probably there, or 50.9, something like that. But yeah, 44 is an absolute smashing of services there. So yeah, look at that. Output amid weak client demand, right? 45. It's the second successive monthly decrease in total business activity is broadband. Yeah. Government is only 6 months behind. But we, the private sector, is known. Economy is tanking fast. This is insane. Yeah. The fastest since May 2020 and solid overall. The rate of contraction has also outpaced anything recorded outside the initial pandemic rebreak. When series begin. Wow, look at that. Fastest one ever minus the pandemic outbreak, which, again, it's not something that happens normally. So, yeah, great data, right, for an indice trader. Horrible data for a currency trader. So, yeah, and then we'll see what new home sales looks like. New home sales is expected to be lower too, and then richer in manufacturing. And you'll see manufacturing contracted a little bit. So, yeah, just to add more fuel to the fire, in 9 minutes, we get to see what new home sales looks like. And again, new home sales, they're contracting. And it should be, I think each month it's been heading down. Yeah, we had one that popped above, but then they revised it 50 down and then lowered the next one down. We'll see if we can continue this trend lower. So, yeah, getting some extra bad data. Some extra bad data on there. Wait, what is this? Settings? What? No. What is it doing? Why is it doing that? Hold on. Don't know why it's doing that. All right. So, yeah. So, anyway, tomorrow we have some durable goods orders. Now, durable goods has also kind of pushed itself back down again. It used to be durable goods was one of those things that was considered more of a higher end piece, but now everything is so inflation based. It's kind of durable goods is kind of it's lessened to some extent. It's not as powerful as it used to be as far as releases go, but. Again, it definitely could set the morning off. You can see that, they're both expected to be lower than what they were before. Again, kind of going with what we saw today. Even if this comes in as confirmed, that shows lower orders than the month before, showing that the buyer is not there necessarily as much. So that's kind of not what we want, right? It's kind of not what we want. But we have pending home sales as well, also declining yet again. So we'll see what new home sales looks like now, pending home sales tomorrow, and we'll kind of see how fast this is rolling forward. So I don't know. It's interesting, we see where the economy is right now. We know that inflation is so bad. So what do? We put out a bill to change all these things. But at the same time, could we have used that $7.6 billion that we've given in the Ukraine so far? Could we have used that as a way to combat inflation here, right? I mean, Turkey, who is it? Greece right here. Greece is doing it. Greece is going to, cover it with subsidizing rising power bills, right? They're doing it here, right? But instead, what are we doing in the United States? We're releasing 1 million barrels a day of the Strategic Oil Reserve and selling it at a high price to make money. Yeah. So, think about it and chew on that a little bit, right? So, they could have done this with, some of that much. Double-digit Eurozone inflation is within touching distance. Yeah, getting there as well. So, man, I'm dying to see what this home sales comes in now. I know it's early, but hopefully the data's out there. Anyway, looking at the VIX, you can see that the VIX is quite high. Go back down to a 30-minute chart. You can see in the overnight, it kind of stabilized itself. With all the data out now, we should be able to kind of have this kind of tear down back a little bit. I would say overall right now where the VIX is, it is lower than yesterday. Starting to push down a bit. Does kind of more coincide with a green day today in the overall indices. Because again, if data is bad, that means they're not going to jack us around, right? And again, that's the biggest fear of the market right now is that they're going to raise interest rates too far, right? The dollar obviously was holding high. And again, we talked about this. Look at this, bouncing back and forth on that 109 mark. 109 is extremely high. It should rate extreme high, not just high up here. But you can see being on the high mark right there. You can see very, very strong push down. And actually on this one, it looks like it was kind of telegraphed at 8:30 this morning. It did pull back up. And again, if you're looking to see where pieces are, it's right there. And we did have our touch from the top of this base and boom, right back down and kind of retrace where we were yesterday. Now, I would say I don't personally think that this is going to change the Fed's opinion too much. There's been a couple data points now, but they've originally before it was like, listen, we're going to raise and then next year at the end of the year we'll do a cut to kind of bring it back into line where it should be, right? Where it should be. And they said that that's not going to be changed. So, yes, we knew that this is what we were going to see, and this is what the Fed said that they wanted to see, right? But I don't think it changes the trajectory too much. So we've had a big, strong push down. It's kind of a parabolic move. We had one up, and it was kind of like, all right, how do we get the retrace in here? And again, we do have the roll back down again, but you can see there's a lot of buying in here. I would say probably a headline or something. I do see that this reverses back up again because, again, a very, very news-based surprise, but this should help the dollar overall today, okay? You can see all the commodities now. Look at this. Whew, all the commodities. Look at gold. Gold absolutely loved this. Gold was like, yes, right? Gold was super excited about this. Why? Because, again, if things are going sideways, you can't really be just magically raising interest rates, right? So I'd say overall, that's not necessarily a bad thing, right? Not necessarily bad. So it loves it. All right, so let's go back in. So obviously there's news in here. There was already a sell yesterday, or a buy. Yesterday we talked about 68.56. We talked about two levels in here. We had one just a little bit lower. It ended up grabbing that level about 2:30 this morning for that European Open. Actually, the European Open is... it's right here. Yeah, the 230 mark right here. We ended up coming down and tagging it, right? And it ended up going up to its 1 to 3, pulling back in time for the news. And then magically, look at that. It pulled down before the news and launched itself. Now, it wasn't at a level. It had already entered the trade. It was already out of the trade. But on the top side, we talked about a level up here. We had some testing, and we kind of pushed through the level. And the 23.6 was up there at 69.21. And you can see we kind of drove up there. And now it is starting to kind of turn and roll back to the downside. So really in the overnight, here was your trade, your 68.56 right there. With it pulling back, again, there really wasn't a trade setup for news on this one. But at this point, I would say, hey, look for this to come back because I don't think this is the end of the Fed raising. It's really kind of where do we find the top? I do think it retraces back down, and we probably come back down by tomorrow. By this time tomorrow morning, I see us being back down over in here. Like I said, fast push up. This is not actually any type of a change of service. All this is a bad number, and it's people assuming what's going to happen. Assuming what's going to happen, and what actually happens is definitely two different things. So, I would expect some type of a parabolic move back, but we did have the trade set up from this morning, from yesterday, and we talked about another level, and again, it is a 23.6. We have had selling pressure there before. Again, it has technically broken through it, but it's a level that, it was such a quick touch at a reversal time. I do think this turns and rolls. Okay. Off the yen. Okay. Yesterday, we talked about this 50% retracement level at 94.17. As you can see, in the overnight, drove all the way down. And at the European Open right here, 3 o'clock is actually the little tiny green. If you can see the little green right here, right above where I'm at. There's your European Open. Again, we talked about the buffer zone. We talked about the confirmation test of that level, right? And again, it came down, tagged the 50 exactly, and then took off. 1 to 3 was out by 5:30. Actually, 5:30 is right here, and it just maintained. It didn't reverse, and then magically went up and grabbed that top level right there. So, for the most part, this was more of a, I'd say probably target to the top side, looking for the opposite, an opposing zone. And it had touched it 3 times before, so it wasn't really somewhere you wanted to go short from. But with it being a news-based pop, it's already kind of gone up and hit it, and it's already down 23 pips from there. If you were looking for that one, I would say that would have been a nice run, carrying it all the way up of about 60 pips. But there was the overnight trade from yesterday's level. Right now, I would assume that this one probably does the same thing. It probably tears back down again. Comes down and starts testing this 50, but I'd be a little bit more cautious for another buy. Reason why is because we kind of had the base in here, and we've had one touch, and we've had a deeper touch right now. It should drive a little bit deeper in that zone. And I don't really think that Australia is great. Like if the U.S. is like the last man standing, I don't think anything in Australia is doing better because, again, whenever the United States starts going on decline, there is kind of that contagion effect because, again, remember, the United States is good for one thing. We buy a lot of stuff, right? We are, if you have a product, you're trying to sell it to the United States is what you're trying to do. That's like the golden land, right? Got something, release it in the United States, sell it to them. They'll pay a lot for anything, right? So I would say we probably roll. Question where stabilization comes in is going to be important. Let's see what the home number look like. Survey says, well, manufacturing was much worse than expected. Let's see what home sales look like. Oof. -3 was already bad, coming in -8 in Richmond. So now I think it's Richmond and Empire were both horrible, and Philly wasn't great, but I think it was better than expected. So manufacturing all down, and again, this flash manufacturing PMI, I'm wondering if this is a telltale sign that it's going to get nuked next time. Come on, give me the home number. Ooh, it was supposed to be low, and it came in at 511. Ouch. Yeah, so 80,000 less this month. So yeah, it's definitely not going in the direction that you want. And I think all sector-wise, home sales right now is really, it's kind of right now the epicenter of the battle of inflation. Because again, the more interest rates rise, these go up. People are like, wait a second, I was paying 2.8 a year ago. Now I'm paying 5.4. I'm paying double, right, in interest. And it's, again, historically low. But yeah, 512. I'm sorry, 511. Yeah. Yeah, that's not good. Wah, wah, wah. So, yeah, we'll see where the stabilization comes in. But again, I think this rolls back down to this 94.17 area. Watch it for a base there. We know we got some levels. We got them kind of stacked. We have a level right below it as well. We have the 61.8, which is a decent level. I'm thinking if the 61.8, this could be where we get the next entry in. I'm just very hesitant to do it again because it was here and it was lower. And it'll go a little bit lower, but we do have that zone just kind of sitting, like kind of hiding right below it, right? Kind of got one of these levels kind of sitting right there as potentials, right? But I think this one turns and rolls back down again. It's got about 45 pips before we get lower. Now, euro dollar. Yeah, there's euro dollar. Love this. Look at this. It already started to take off before and then came out right there at 9.45 and it shot up. Right now, again, we're back at the parity level. I love this. Look, they where is it? Look at this. Two decade low. Look at this, right? And we think it could go much further. I love when they come out with articles like this, right? I love this, right? We're at a 2-decade low. We could go much, much lower. And then what's the response from the market? Back above parity. Like I said, we have problems. Europe has problems. I think Europe's problems have not come to full fruition yet. They will definitely come out more, right? But this is such a great example. Here's when the news came out, right? So tell me that somebody didn't have the news before that, right? Yeah, I love it. I should do like a series, examples of how we know the market is manipulated, right? How do we know, right? Here is the proof. Oil the other day took off, and then the reading came out, right? It was amazing. Took off, and then that monstrous number came out, and then it shot right back down again, right? Something like this, that over half the move occurs an hour before, right? Somebody exactly has it. Anyway, I look for a reversal in this one too. I like the level up top, but there is a level sitting right there with a little bit of a testing, and that's kind of what we're running into right now. It is back up at parity. Again, I don't think this is going to change the trajectory. I would say that I would assume this comes back down again. Yesterday, again, we talked about the two different levels, the 93.34, Braxton on the other side by 99.02. You can see we hit it, we base back and forth, then we hit it again, we hit it again, we hit it again, 3 hits, boom, we punched through, went to the next level, and then surged back up again, and then kind of took off and formed a new zone. So it does give us an area to kind of look at down here and say, hey, listen, this is probably where any shorts that we have, we're going to be looking at 99.11 or 99.12. I know it's so close. Somehow I got OCD when I got older. I don't know how, but 99.12 is kind of where our target is, and it is a tested level. So, it's target first, but it can be a potential reversal level. It's hit here, and it's hit here. This is a parabolic move, and again, they do know the data ahead of time, right? It was... Somebody knew it. I would look in turn for this to roll back down, and wouldn't be surprised if we get back down here in the 99.60-ish range. Again, it's almost, we're sitting right there at like that reversal time too. Yeah, 1 to 3 is only, that's 2.9 right there. 1 to 3 is only that far, right? It's so close. I really like the zone up here better, but we do know there is one there. There is one confirmed right there, and actually, I guess we could have shrunk this a little bit. It can be right there. We can shrink it up a little bit, just a little bit. Yeah, the full piece is like 1 to 7. The nice thing about something like this is it just blew out every single knockout to the top side. Every knockout that was up there went ding, 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 and new ones printed, right? Yeah, I think this one turns and rolls back down again as well. So what we really need is we need like a Fed president to come out. We need like a Fed. Oh, that's the home sales. We need like a Fed president to come out and say, yeah, this is a data point. This is exactly what we expected. It's not going to change our trajectory. And then this goes right back down again. But anyway, profit target on the parabolic move would be sitting right there. Okay. Would be right there would be our target, which again is right near that 99.34. Let's look at Euro Pound. So Euro Pound, chop, chop, chop. We talked about a level in here. We had a couple marked off. Yesterday morning we were sitting kind of right here, right here, and we hit it. We kind of bounced and hit it again, and then hit it again, and then hit it again, and then hit it again, and kind of pushed lower. Went to this, it went all the way down to the 61.8, and kind of rallied back up, and then rallied back up, grabbed it again, hit up, 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 and then just really chopped through. So I'd say right now, again, I think as bad as the pound data is, I think the European data with Germany it's much, much worse. And we've kind of drawn targets out. I would say the next area of potential bouncing is probably I think we've already hit these. Nah, it's probably right there. Yeah, it's kind of been front run on it. This is such a choppy pair right now. Overall, I think that this one needs to come back down again. I think the 184. I think really 184 for me, right in there. Oops. I think this is where we're really looking for something to happen, right? It's an area where we've been testing. It's kind of the extreme range of the curve. Right now, we're kind of still in that middle-ish range. You can see we're really fluctuating between the 50 and 61.8. If you take this one out and talk about this as kind of the curve of where we were or where we are, we're sitting in no man's land in the middle, right? Not always the best place to trade. Can you say we're in an obvious downtrend? And we were, and it's trying, but now it's, again, it's kind of stabilizing itself in that middle area, and that's why we call it no man's land, and it's not always the best place to trade. So, I think still using the euro pound as a gauge of which way we go with the euro dollar pound dollar is a better way to trade this right now. But you can see the chop back and forth, very, very difficult to really get any true zones. But it's bouncing off of things where it should. But it's also at the same time, and when we take high to low in this candle, we're talking about 18 pips. It's not like we're talking about a 60 or 70 pip range in this one. It is a rather small range. So take it for what it's worth. I would use it more right now as a right now would be more of just using it as like kind of like a proxy or using it almost as like an indicator, right? For lack of a better word, using it as an indicator to figure out if euro pound or pound dollar is a better asset to trade. All right. I know a lot of people, will say out there, it's like, trade like one or two things and just master those charts and do all of them. Currencies, yeah, everything has its own heartbeat, but I feel like, you know, sometimes things are so flat in currencies, and you're just not going to get the normal fluctuations back and forth because it is a different kind of market. I mean, not that you don't get flat days in indices, but you know, you could say, I mean, if you think about it, there are a million different ETFs you can trade. There's just so many different stocks you can trade. So yes, talking about specializing is important. There's really only 4 to 6 main currencies or like currency pairs that you need to trade or look at. This is one of them, but I don't feel that this is one of the. Again, I feel like this is an indicator pair, not really a trading base pair, because it just doesn't have the same movement, right? But the reality is, most of them move the same way. It just this one helps you; it gives you a little bit of a benefit in the euro pound, pound dollar, euro yen. So euro yen, we talked about this one basing here and breaking through. It did. It pulled back. Right. Again, I'm on a 15. That's why it looks weird. But you can see we pulled back. And again, it did punch lower. It did make it all the way 78. But look at that. There's my arrow. I missed it by just a little tiny bit again. I'm off by let's see, to the very, very point right there. I missed it by 1.7 pips. So not bad, right? Not bad. We talked about the breakthrough and the push. I missed it by just a little tiny bit. And again, that hit at 3 o'clock in this morning. So I definitely was not awake. Yeah. So close. Missed it by what? An hour? All right, so now let's kind of extend things down. You can see that this one really chopped up, and I wouldn't say that this one. I'll clear this off just to make it a little easier for everybody. Again, didn't turn anywhere. Again, if you were a 50% trader, you got really, really nervous. If you used the 61.8, came all the way up and has already started to retrace. So, again, this is purely the yen, right? This is purely the yen. Probably a target for next time. This reversal came off of this. Right there. We have a level on top of a level sitting right there. I was looking at this like, oh, that's plenty of range. We take a little short off of that, right? But we got that little zone here. What time of day was that? It was like late night, super early morning. Do not know. Why is it doing login successful? I don't know what that one's doing. Hold on, I'm checking the stream real quick. My stream stopped moving? Okay, there we go. All right. Sorry, I was looking at it and I was like, wait a second. The other screen is not moving. But there, it's moving. It was just delayed on my side. Yeah, so I'd like to see what it does when it comes down to this level. If we get a base in here, maybe we get a continuation, like a momentum continuation through, but I feel like this zone right here may give us a little hiccup. So, if we get the base in there, what it may do is it may come down, push up, and then that's where we take our trigger, and then we look for something to go a bit lower down to 135. Obviously, I do this here, but, you guys get the point. This over here. You know what I need? I need like a grouping. Like if I could click all these and then group them, that would be awesome. Although, you know what I just learned yesterday? So a lot of times you'll see me scroll like this and then I'll move it to get it fast, but like when you do this, it's like it moves it over. So I got to readjust it. If I hit control, I don't know if you guys know this or not, hit control and do this, it keeps the cursor exactly where it was. So like if I wanted to kind of say, all right, what do we got backwards? I could look real quick, and wherever I put the cursor is where it would do the zoom. Right? So I wanted to say, oh, it hits here. Like I wanted to shrink and say, oh, it hit here. I can just put my cursor there, hit control, and then it zooms out from that spot. So instead of me going like this and then moving it around, I can just shrink it. I'm like, oh, look at this. Learning a new tool every day. Right? Had no idea. And the only reason I found that out is because when you log into the TradingView app, right? I'd never used the app before, so I was glad to hear that some of you guys have. I just always use the desktop. When I hit the TradingView app, it like gives you like a tool tip of the day. I was like, that's awesome. That makes it so much easier, right? Instead of me shrinking this way and going back, I was like, I mean, I can go here and then be like, oh yeah, I want to see what's here, right? Like, oh, that's a good level. So, whoops, I don't want to move that one. So I'm pretty excited. There was my tool for the day. Like, I'm going to log in just to see what other kind of fancy bells and like I know all the bells and whistles on MT4 or most of them. But I was like, there you go, new bell and whistle for TradingView. So anyway, I'd look for this pattern, look for it to push back down. I think the sentiment is still there. We're 135.96. I think, you know, again, the goal is to get this one back down to 135 in general. Okay. Okay. All right. Does it overlay? Default bottom. Sure. Sure, I guess. Theme default, preview. I don't know how that works. It says chart overlay. Man, I got all these buttons. It's like, oh, I don't know what's working. All right, so pound dollar. So pound dollar. We were getting the basing, and then boom, got nuked on that one. Still looking for 116.41. I think this one does have a parabolic retracement. We talked about this one coming down. If we shrink it right now, you can see that the 23.6 didn't really provide much in there of help at all. If this one is able to rally back up, 119.21 is still where we're looking. Again, it was a basing level, it tested and was confirmed there. It doesn't make any sense right now, percentage-wise, where it's at, but that doesn't mean there's not sellers sitting in there. And again, if there weren't, it would have pushed higher. So we know there's at least a few in there. After a move like this, we are looking for basing. There's a tiny one here, but I'll be pretty disappointed if that's where we turn off of. I'm kind of hoping we get one more surge forward in the next 15 minutes and then, again, turn and roll from that level. I think this one is a decent run. And again, if we just surge up, I mean, talk about a huge parabolic move. There's where your 1 to 3 is, right? That's not bad at all. It's putting it at a good place. Again, the 23.6 will be sellers and buyers both together. So I think that's a great one, right? Again, when this one does turn and roll, we are looking for this one to go back down to really right there, right back to our original level at 117.74 or 117.75. Like I said, I'm not exactly sure how I got OCD, but now like these numbers that are so close to like a whole number, it's the quarters theory taking over again. I don't know if any of you guys look at that or not. I didn't create the strategy. It is a strategy that I like and enjoy, and it's one that I was actually taught the strategy by a guy who used to work for I forget which bank it was. It was a UK bank. He was a currency swap trader for one of the banks in the UK. Can't remember which one though. I'm drawing a blank on it, but he said that they use a lot of quarters theory stuff, just based, very kind of regimented system with using 25s and, different time frames. It's fascinating. It's, again, mathematician created it. Love the idea of it. It's fun. I created indicators for it. All right. Well, I guess I augmented. I didn't start the code from base. I took a different type of code and then created it. I've never released a class on it because you guys could find it out there in the world. But it is a fun course, or it is a fun way to trade. It's remarkable. Like, it just really shows you a lot about the human psyche, right? About how we look at things and hold numbers and stuff. But yeah, I have it up on one of my MT4 clients. I have it on that runs on there. So kind of a cool strategy, something fun to play with, right? But yeah, 119.19, and then again 117.75 back to the downside. I think we pushed down to 117.41. Pound yen, look at this one. So we did not get an entry on this one on the 30-minute. We talked about it getting down to 160.68. It came down to 160.81, so we missed it by 15 pips. It drove down and then immediately shot back up, which is not a trigger for a Harry Potter trade. But we are 2/3 of the way through, so it's kind of one of those ones. It's like, we're looking for really something lower. As you can see, the volatility in this one has been pretty nuts. Like 9:30 went straight up, grabbed the level here, and I don't know. Could you say that this was a level? Yeah, but I would say that the level was more sitting there. This just shows you that there's the overly aggressive nature of this one. It turned right there. That's all it did. And then, I mean, this is a huge, talk about a big whipsaw. I mean, it's a 114 pip whipsaw on that one. So you know. It's funny, drop it to a 15, you can really see it. 915 was the peak, right? 915 was the peak. 930 or 930 was the peak. 945 straight back down again. I'd say so. This is an interesting one. Again, I'm on a 15-minute now, so you can kind of see it a little bit more. We have the basing here. Again, on the 15-minute, it looks like it was a setup, but we typically do them on the 30-minute, right? Drop, base, and pull back. That's what we want, right? But on the 30, not on the 15. You can see it's quite whippy. And then came down and touched it again. And then came down and touched it again. So I'm kind of wondering, and again, this is not really a great base to draw it off of. I'm wondering if we continue this across, and if we can get a level of basing here that gives us a decent level of risk, if this one is still live on the table. Let's see, hold on. Maybe somebody was like, yeah, 50, take it. They got a little nervous when it peaked all the way up. Yeah. There's not much below it. I'm wondering. I wonder if we adjust this down. Look at that. It's right at 161. 160.48. Profit target on that one's a little bit deep. Yeah, I'm wondering if we look for a break of 161, look for some basing on this one, and then look for a bit of a pullback to it. Could be a decent one. Yeah. Yeah, it could be decent. Yeah, watch that one. It's not my favorite trade in the world, but it does make sense. Again, basing level, confirmation across. We've hit it again. We know it. Again, it based right above it, got smashed through, and then all of a sudden it became a bottom and a bottom. When it breaks through, it should be looking for the next level, which is down lower. And again, the 1 to 3 target's a little bit deep. But again, the way that the yen works, when we break through, and again, we should have a bit of retracement right now, so we'll see how it goes. Yeah, so there's what we're looking for, right? So we had this one drawn yesterday, and we were up here kind of bouncing back and forth. We're like, oh, man, it's close, right? Decent level shop up top, and then again, we kind of pulled up for news right to that level. Here's your base on the 30-minute and the pullback. Again, it was a violated zone, but there's where the confirmation came in. And bam, we slammed all the way back down again, and we had that knockout drawn. The knockout did get stopped out. It was at 52 right here. It got stopped out by just a little tiny bit, which is unfortunate because we just smashed through on the other side now. Both sides would have been taken out on that one. So just amazing how much movement this one's had. But again, this is the dollar getting hammered, and at the same time, oil is up $3.36 today. So we're getting dollar weakness, and we're getting what's it called? CAD strength coming into this one. We talked about getting short from this level and rolling back. Right now, it's hard because we have a bunch of levels over here. If I extend this across, that's what we just bounced off of. This is buyers here, buyers here, buyers here, buyers here, buyers all the way down. So there's plenty of places for this one to turn and flip. Being 1022, could we take a reversal off this right now? Those guys, we're already short, so that would have been the profit target right here at the 50. But we'll take that off now. Does this turn and reverse? I mean, it's an old level. I don't love it. It didn't really take off. Could it reverse here? It could, and then it'd be one of those things that it's like, hey, that's kind of one of those lucky reversals. But yeah, I don't really like I think 128.81 is better down here. It's been a level of basing, and it punched in quick and out quick, and then touched and barely was there. It will be a third hit, which again is not ideal, but yeah, yeah. I want to tell you that I love this one that much, but I don't. Let me see. Yeah, see, it's the same thing. Doing it from here, like it's like, oh, the trend changed. Doing it from there, and the new trend, the 50 is bisecting it right in the middle. So, I mean, could it reverse off of here? Yeah, it absolutely could. I mean, that would be a stereotypical parabolic move, right? Right back up again. And again, the 50's in there too. It's like, ah, but oil's up 3.8 or 3.6%. Uh, Let me check something. Hold on. ADEX login. What do we got? What do we got? You're gonna force me to do it. Oh, there is one right there. There's a 32. There's one right there. It's about a 25 for a 75. It's a 1 to 3 setup right there. Now it's up to 28. It's bouncing around a little bit. There is actually a Nadex knockout sitting right there too. At 32 right there. There is one right there in close proximity. That is a parabolic room. That is a parabolic retracement base move there. Hold on, I'm checking out something else real quick. Weekly, where is it? 129.32. Nope. Let's see. Oh, that's Stellar Swiss. I'm like, wait, what? Wait, what? What's going on? That's confusing. Oh, 20 for 80. Holy crap, they got a big spread on that one. Hmm. There's actually a Nadex weekly position too, a binary. It's $20 risk. I think the spread on this one is way too big. Literally, the spread's 12 and 19. It's 12 and 20. It's an $8 spread, right? Which I think is a little bit much for something that is two or three. It's basically it's two strike prices out. The fact that they have that big of one in the dollar CAD is a little bit insane, but it's a 30.75, which is right there. It's a 30.75. It's a weekly. It's got 3 days and 4 hours left on it. I mean, it's only Tuesday. So, I mean, if we get any mention about, yep, we're going to continue to raise it, it's, whatever. That's all. It just needs to basically break above the high. $20 for 80. It's not horrible. Coordinates. Oh, no. It would expire 3 days. So, over here. Right there. What did I say? 30.75. Interesting position. Interesting position. Like I said, I think this one again, we start getting the dollar, the CL weakness coming back in again and dollar strength coming back in again. That should help catapult this higher. So, all right, dollar Swiss. Not surprised. Again, dollar just got hammered, came back down again and kind of turned. So let's adjust some. Actually, that pushed all the way back up again. So that's good. Actually, that's not bad. So we had this area here. It sliced through this one. So let's pull this off. It looks like, oh, yeah, I'm not a huge fan of that. I don't really love that one either. Come on, dollar Swiss. Do better. Look at that. That's the zone. Look at the sawtooth right there. There's your confirmation. Again, it sucks that it pushed it all the way in. And there was your turn. There's your 8:30. And look at that. 9 o'clock, it happened to start turning, right? And then 9:30 right here, right? 9:45 is this candle here. So it was 3 deep into that thing, into that push. Yeah, somebody didn't. Yeah, somebody knew. Where do we run with this now? Let's say, whoops, not that one. Really, profit target needs to be there. None of these line up. Great. I guess the 95 does. Look at it bouncing off the 95, which is a 61.8. Yeah, I think this one's going to retrace. Like I said, I don't think the Swiss is not in a great place either. The Swiss is going to have a lot of exposure to the natural gas situation. Why is it not message alignment top? Sure. Copy this URL in OBS for your favorite broadcasting. Oh, okay. I'll have to mess with that tomorrow. I'll mess with that one tomorrow. I think I can put the chat up on there. I don't know where to put it though. Maybe on the left. Yeah, I have to mess with that one tomorrow. Anyway, again, I think we find a bottom here. We turn and roll. It's going to be just like any of the other dollar plays. Looking for it to turn and roll back up again. Pound yen looks exactly the same. We were looking for 137.86 on the short. All it did was it gave us this piece right here. And again, kind of drove up ahead of time. And then magically, you know, it's like it knew the data. We talked about getting long at 135.79. Yeah, we missed it by just a little tiny bit. And again, being short up top, that would have been our profit target to the downside. So in actuality, this is actually where you should have taken your profit. And you can see that it did slice through the profit target. Actually, this is probably a little bit low. Again, I don't want to make sure we don't cheat these. There you go. It's 100% flat now, and you can see it did blow through the bottom, and that would have been your target, right, before the zone. So again, I think dollar yen is in a very interesting situation. We have extreme dollar weakness right now. We have yen strength coming in because of the data. We should see turn this roll back up again. Bitcoin obviously is doing well. It's kind of like they knew the data, and again, we haven't really heard too much news here, but Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Doji all look exactly the same right now. Again, Doji is trying to break through that 7 again. Bonds obviously up, right? Having problems with the dollar weakening, people tend to go towards the safety. That's where we're seeing it on that side. Going across the CL, magically look at that. They're like, boom, CL's bursting through the top. And again, some of this, you see dollar weakness, you tend to see the commodities move. You're seeing all of them, whether it be gold, natural gas, silver, oil. They're all kind of going higher. Now, we had a level here at 91, and you can see we had hit it. We did 1, we did 2, we did 3, and then it based in there. You're like, yep, it's breaking. It pulled up and went higher. The next level we didn't have, or the next level we had kind of, and it's actually kind of an old split level. Let's pull this off. The 94.38 range, we missed that by just a little bit. And actually, that's an old level. Let's adjust this just up a little. Yeah, that gives us the next kind of true. This actually may be more of a short than anything else. The 94.52. Yeah. So I would say, again, look for this one to continue to go higher. That one is out. This side is out. This is out. We don't need this. Oh, we did touch it a few times. We'll pull it. Pull that, pull that, pull that, just to keep the browser clean. We did bounce off of it, although I'm going to pull it. I'm going to put that as a target there. So I'm going to say if we turn and roll. And it's funny, we got the, what they're calling it, the IRA, which I think is the worst name ever to call it because you're only going to confuse people. Since the Inflationary Act came out, you're like, oh, gas is bad. Right? It's going higher. And also, too, one of the things that's important to note, I don't know the exact date on there, but the pulling from the Strategic Railroad Reserve, I believe, ends in September, like September 15th or something like that, or maybe it's the first week of October, but I think it's coming up in the next like month and a half, 2 months, where basically that's going to be 1 million barrels that are pulled off every month because it's not something that is sustainable forever. It's interesting to see oil rallying back up again. We talked about getting this confirmation pattern. We didn't really get it till over here. So had you gotten it and got in, yes, it still gave you a nice run. But the 86 over here, we literally tagged it at 10 o'clock yesterday morning. And again, just didn't really get the confirmation entry. It just took off. It was such a great level. It took off. So, but I would say, look to get short 94.52. Natural gas, we talked about 10 and it went to 10. So, right. We tagged $10.02, almost $10.03 today. So we can go just a little bit higher right there. And where do we go with this one now? I mean, I really just don't want to even set any type of a short trade up right now. You can see we pulled back, and did we get a good level on it? Yeah, we did. And not a great level, but there's an area right here where we've kind of had a touch. It does front run the 50% retracement level, and that's over here at $9.65. Again, we're getting into talks of winter gas talk. Now, we are high on the line. $10 is a big deal. Again, I would expect a little bit of a pullback. Do I want to get short this position? No, because I literally feel like, once Russia feels that this is how we're going to really, continue to, put the screws to Europe for supporting the Ukraine, I feel like this has the ability to go higher. I don't want to see it go any higher, just for the record. I don't want to see it go higher, but I feel like it will. So I really don't want to kind of recommend any type of short trade on here. This is one of those ones that I don't feel like it's as high as it's going to be, and I don't want to try to call a top on it. All right. Gold is noticeably obviously going higher. Let's bring this down. You can see that the 23 didn't even slow down. It smoked the 23. Here was that short trade we talked about, and you can see it came through. And then yesterday morning we were sitting right here, right? We had already hit the profit target, so let's pull those. That one is out. We're going to adjust this one actually lower. And remarkably enough, that's what we tagged at 8:30 this morning. We'll pull this off. I don't need this anymore. Let's see if I can smooth this line a little bit. Not the best smoothing, but it worked a little bit. Could I smooth it a little bit more? Just a little bit. There we go. All right, I'm on a 2-hour chart, just in case you're wondering. I'm using the higher time frame to smooth down some of the fluctuations that happen inside of gold. Looks like 1758.07-ish area. 1758 looks like it's going to be an area where we have, again, nice strong drop in there, a base, and then a pullback, and it's been tested, confirmed one time. I know that's a bit more of a haul to go, but again, until one of the Fed presidents gets in there and says something about it, this is not changing our course. We expected this. This is exactly what we expected. This is what we're attempting to do. We're trying to bring our unemployment back up to 4.6. That's what healthy is going to be. I think that's where it goes. Silver doing the same thing, kind of grabbed the bottom. You can see right now from where silver is drawn at 6 o'clock. It is at the 23.6 level. We did know that we have some selling in here. So again, we had talked about 1930, right? 1932. And this is, again, I'm on the 2-hour chart. So I was just using that to smooth down gold. But we're fluctuating back in an area, but here's where the confirmation was in at 1932. If we get up there, yes, I do think this one turns and rolls the same exact way. We basically needed to get up there, and then for all the gold sellers to, all the inflation sellers to get out, and we need the Fed to say something, right? Rolling into the VIX. Obviously, the VIX is starting to clone back down again. News is out. There's no more surprises for the day. Everything was kind of like wah, 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 and that's why you're seeing all the greens. I can tell you right now, I did look before we started stream today. I knew we had a lot of data coming out. When I looked in, there was really no setups this morning for this. The 9:30 candle was sitting right here, and I'll stretch this out. So in looking at this, you could say that, hey, listen, there could be a case made right here, and there could be a case made right here. The price right now, or this morning at 9:15, was right here. We were literally sitting smack dead in the middle with not really anything. So as far as the opening print goes, again, yes, I got to finish doing the recording. I'm hoping to knock out the last. Melissa is taking the kids to the zoo tomorrow, so I'm hoping that with the kids gone, I will be able to get the last remaining bit of it all recorded. But just to give you guys kind of the idea of where kind of it's going, sitting right here in the middle of a gigantic candle, there's no buying and selling in there. There was an old level, but it's not really something we want to use at 9:15 in the morning. You're looking for something more near term. Obviously does not qualify for a setup whatsoever. And all it did was it dropped a little bit lower in time for the news, like it knew, and then magically skyrocketed forward, and now we're pulling back down to the same thing. So we're at 0.18 for the day, not an opening print setup in the ES, but I do think, again, range-wise, it's not surprising that we did turn from there up top, right? That was the last untested level there. Overall, the data was good, but I still think the Fed is going to be like, so what? We're still doing this. NQ, basically the same exact thing. 9:15 candle was right here, sitting right in the middle of a range. Again, to be able to trade opening print, you have to understand supply and demand. Again, that's inside of the master course. One day, and it's not like I have a lot of free time. The master course teaches you where to do supply and demand. It uses currencies as the base. It's called the forex master course. You guys all know that. For those of you that don't know, that's where I teach how to put zones for supply and demand. Okay, you still need supply and demand to trade the opening print. If you don't have that piece of it, this is kind of like an add-on after the fact. I should just re-record that class and basically cut it in half, have the forex piece, and then basically the supply and demand piece, because you can use supply and demand for everything. You still need that one, but obviously no setup for the morning here. YM, we were sitting right here at 9:30, kind of smack dead in the middle. Now this one did have a trade yesterday morning. We were sitting. Where is it? Right here. Yeah, right here. We had just taken the bounce, right? Here. This is where we were start. We just bounced off of it. We talked about kind of pushing through and breaking. We did. We pushed all the way through, came back up, grabbed it, and then boom, there's your profit target. There's your second entry. Boom, profit target again. There was your 10 o'clock window. Boom, a third opportunity from 33, 125. So although not an opening print setup, this is a trade that we talked about yesterday, and it's come to fruition a few times at this point. So you could have taken this for YM. Of all of the indices, you'll see that YM is negative. Why? Because the manufacturing was getting just blasted. That manufacturing number coming in, again, YM is associated with that one. It's not like technology where, again, technology is more services based now. This one is pretty strictly on the side of, hey, manufacturing not good, YM is going to be down, right? It is an industrial average. And again, Russell is popping. Russell also pulled back to an area, nothing there, right? Nothing on a 15-minute chart. So because the news was at 9:45 today, it kind of messed up the opening prints, and that happens. 8:30 is hard enough with doing it. 9:15 releases 15 minutes afterwards. It always makes it even more challenging. And again, I'll tell you right now, that's one of the rules. If there's a 9:15 release, be very, very cautious with something like an opening print, because you really don't know. Now, this one did drive it back down like it should have, only to skyrocket. So, and it did skyrocket to kind of a point where you'd say, hey, listen, you had some basing there, and you had a test right here, and that's what it ran into for its reversal. So it is the strongest on the day of all of them. I would say that this one had the largest parabolic move. It probably has the biggest parabolic retracement back again, and it pushes it back into that level. But as far as opening prints go, today was a great example of how you don't expect to see them, especially with a number as big as what we got today, right? These were, these are huge misses right after the open. Kind of crazy. Ooh, look at this. JP Morgan warns that the pound could get knocked down to 114. Wow. 114. Wow. Hold on, I got to look at this one, and then we're going to do the drawing because I know I'm a little bit late today. 114. Brings it all the way back down to the bottom of this level. It's funny. 114 is right here. Oops. There's 114. Magically. I love how they picked that. It could get it down to 114. Well, there are buyers at 114. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. Yeah. So, yeah, gotta love that. All right, so that's it for today. Again, you're seeing things starting to stabilize and level out. Don't forget, tomorrow's core durable goods at 8:30. It should actually be a decent morning for the opening print. Core durable goods at 8:30. We'll have plenty of time. It has over an hour. It's considered a medium release. We should be able to absorb it all into the market. So tomorrow, I would say, is probably the best one for opening prints if you guys are trading it. I will probably log in a bit early to see if I could try to get one on there. May lean towards up. Here we go. OPEC Plus may lean towards oil output cuts when and if Iranian production returns, right? Yeah, look at that. So basically saying, OPEC is saying, listen, if Iranian oil comes, and this, remember we mentioned this yesterday? It's like, hey, listen, I wonder if this is their way to get, Iranian oil thrown back in the market, right? I love it. Not that Iran is again, I'm sure they're well upstanding people, but they've done some really, really bad things there. And, with nuclear weapons, and now that they're making peace with Israel, the United States is like, well, you're bad, but you're not the worst. So we'll let your oil back in the market because we need it, right? It's funny how we can bat a blind eye to bad things that they've done. But anyway, OPEC is basically saying, well, if their market comes on, if and when they do, we're going to do cuts because we don't want to flood the market with all this oil and create oil instability in pricing. So just goes to show you, OPEC Plus is not a friend of the United States. Right. So, and again, their mandate is oil stability. Oil all over the place from 120 to 80 is not stability by any stretch of the imagination. And believe it or not, again, this is not like an anti-U.S. sentiment. Businesses and things like that, this is not just OPEC's mandate. This is something that businesses want to deal with as well because they're buying hedging, right? They hedge, like Southwest hedges gasoline and fuel costs. If you're in a small range and it's high, they can hedge and they can budget for it. It's when it goes all the way up and all the way back down again is where it messes things up again. Like this is just too much volatility, where if it's something smooth like this, where it's like, we're back in 2000, like this is okay. They can budget for this, right? Back and forth. This is bad. I mean, but things like this was that zero. This is normal, right? This, you can see the candles. This is not stability. So, yeah. So that's what they're looking for. So, yeah, I'm not surprised by the OPEC Plus thing. So, all right, well, that's it for today. Let's go ahead and do the drawing. We got 8 people in. Eki won yesterday. We got Will, Neuro, Ernest, Debbie, Marina. Who are we missing? No Sean today. All right, let's shut it down. All right, here we go. Winner of today's drawing is Neuro. Neuro with 2. Eki doesn't get it. I'm telling you, Eki is, we're going to change you to bookend. I'm telling you, Mondays and Fridays are like your days. So let's change this. Let's go to, let's give it to Neuro. Where's Neuro? Give Neuro his 25. Now, we know what that means. Whoops, not 245. Oh, my God. Could you imagine? Whew. Ernest would flood my email box. I never hear the end of that one, right? Means Neuro's going to, sell the farm tomorrow, just so you guys know. So come tomorrow to lose some chips because, Neuro's going big tomorrow. He's going to start rolling it forward, rolling those winners. So, all right, with that said, guys, I am a little bit late today. Sorry about that. Again, having to update things, push it back a little bit. With that said, I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Thank you for joining me today. Hopefully we get everything figured out, and I'll see you then. Take care.